Tennessee, where freedom is alive. His shots ring from the woods. Take on 45. Life is good. She's forever sure. There's comments here in Nashville neighborhood. In the land of free. Life is good. He's always shooting down in the woods. He wouldn't leave it if he could. His life is good. He wouldn't leave it even if he could. His life is good.
Yes, life is good. Colt 45 here, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee, the home of Alvin York, Dolly Parton, a couple of my old favorites I haven't mentioned in a while. And yes, it is fairly beautiful now. Leaves are out, sun is out, and humidity is out. So it depends on what your definition of beautiful is, I guess, right? Nothing is perfect. If you live in the desert, it's too dry. You live other places, it's too wet, like here lately. Too sunny, too rainy, too hot, too humid, too cold, too cool. Just ain't never going to be perfect, is it? Yeah, just like people, right? And that's what some people seem to think everything should be. And it might be one reason they're always up in arms about something. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. Let's make it perfect. It's your fault it's not perfect. It's his fault it's not perfect. Nah, it's just not the way it is it? So anyway, welcome to Sunday Shoot Around here and Independence Day weekend, July 4th weekend. Pretty interesting time, a great celebration. Unfortunately, not as much group celebrations going on, right? But hey, we can celebrate individually with families and our close friends or whatever. Get all your close friends together who already have COVID and just have a celebration. You know, there's an advantage to everything. Hey, here you go. There's an option. We got all these groups and these like dating sites, you know, people who are whatever, a certain race or religion or whatever, IQ level, trying to get together and date, right? How about a new app for everybody who has COVID-19? Let's meet and have a party tomorrow, right? Unless you're really, really sick, and most of them are not, right? Let's just get together and have a big barbecue. Hundreds or thousands or whatever. There you go. I just now thought of that, I have to say. Like most things come streaking through my little mind. That's an idea. Let's see. I forget how many. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to how many cases there are, you know, in Nashville today or Tennessee or whatever county. I'm not as interested in cases. I don't care how many cases really. But in some ways, the more the better if they're asymptomatic. That's a sign. It's like the flu or the cold or something. You know, what matters to me is how many people, not to dismiss it, okay? But what matters to me is something you don't get really. I want to know how many people are sick. I mean, really sick. Feel really bad with it, like you would if you just had the flu and you're home in bed and, you know, for a few days, got a temperature, you're not dying, but you're just sick, you don't feel like doing anything. You got symptoms that just keep you in the house and you just don't feel good. How many people are in that condition is what I like to know. Out of that, if in your town, for example, oh, there are 500 cases today, there are 100 new cases or whatever it is. Well, how many of them are like that? Really, what is it? Is it 2? Is it none? You know, I mean, they're uncovering these people. We're revealing these new cases every day because everybody's getting tested. So I just wonder how many of them are sick. I guess they got to a testing site or to the doctor. I don't know. So yeah, I really would. I'm serious. I'd like to know let's say you have 1,000 cases in your county, your town. How many of them are sick like I described? You just really got the symptoms, don't feel good, kind of like home with the flu kind of thing. Okay, they're not dying, but they're just sick. Okay, couldn't go to work, you know, if it was the flu or something else. All right, or wouldn't feel like going to work. Okay, then how many are like beyond that? Right on the brink of hospitalization. Okay, they've gone to the doctor and they should I be in the hospital? It was just really bad. Can't get them out of bed hardly. Okay, and then how many are actually hospitalized of that number, of that, say that 500? You know, I mean, it's easy to track how many died, which is not as many lately, right? But I would just like to know how many are really sick. I mean, that seems kind of important, but it seems to be something that they, you know how they are, ooh, that mysterious they, seem to want to keep to themselves, you know, really. It's been kind of that way from the beginning, because whatever's going around, you call it whatever you want, the 2-liter disease or whatever it might be. Okay, first thing we all want to know is, okay, well, how bad is it? Yeah, sure, somebody's dying from it. Somebody dies from a cold or anything, but I want to know how many people are getting really, really sick from this, you know, and what's their age and all that kind of thing. I want to know from a selfish standpoint, like you do, what are my chances of getting this? If I have a strong immune system, and then if I get this flu, this cold, this COVID virus, whatever, what are the odds of me getting really, really sick and have to go to the hospital? That's kind of what we want to know, isn't it? Right? So anyway, I'm always going back to that. How many people, I don't care how many are test positive, it's almost irrelevant. Again though, although the more that do, a lot of people look at that like, oh my God, the sky is falling. To me, if another 10,000 people tested positive in Nashville, Davidson County tomorrow, and you know, they're all asymptomatic or virtually asymptomatic, I would look at that as, again, 10,000, that's a big number. I guess I'd have looked at it as good news. I mean, apparently, you know, it's like a cold. How many people are, you know, I don't know. I shouldn't have gotten off onto all that because it's become so political and everything. But just from a common sense standpoint, if something is around and it poses a threat, I just would sort of like to know how bad it is, you know, to the average Joe, that kind of thing. So anyway, guess what I've got out? You saw it, didn't you? The old Bat Masterson 45. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Got 2 or 3 videos with it. So let's empty it. And I love this 45, and I got it out because I was in the mood, guess what, to shoot it, really. And that's what I do once a week, thanks to you all in the Sunday shoot around, at least once a week, sometimes more than that. But I just pull out something I want to pull out and shoot. Sometimes even though we have a firearm that we're going to test and I need to be messing with it and trying it out, I don't get it out. As you know, last week I had like 3 different, you know, firearms, all, you know, let's see. Yeah, and of course we appreciate Talon grips and ballistol. I just sprayed some on this gun before I started, and I'm going to spray a little more. I'm not firing black powder, but that's the thing about these old guns. You don't have to, I mean, it's not even old, really. It's a 3rd generation, but, you know, metal guns. You know, it's a 1911 or whatever it is. You know, you can spray all the joints and screws and everything with oil, whatever you want to do. It's not going to really hurt it, probably. You know, whereas you're a little more careful with polymer. You know, modern firearms don't need as much lubrication, that kind of thing. I mean, I could literally dip this in a vat, ballistol or various oil, just down in there and pull it out, shake it out, load it and shoot it. And probably not going to hurt anything, right? Especially it's a low pressure cartridge and all that kind of thing. But yeah, this is the old Bat Masterson. This is one, check the videos on that. He ordered one, and with this came a kind of a card and some writing from Bat Masterson. He wrote me a letter personally. Right. No, it was his order. He sent a letter to Colt and outlined the specifics of what he wanted in a revolver and a Colt single action, and this pretty much described it. I'm not sure it was nickel plated. I guess it was. Is that what he wanted? Yeah. But as far as the grips, length, barrel length, and everything, trigger, and so they tried to kind of duplicate that. And you know, it's kind of, I mean, it's nothing all that unusual about it. I'll tell you one thing that is different. The wooden grips have a nice. They have a lot of meat to them. I mentioned that in the video. I think it really feels good. I mean, it's just as a good feeling firearm. So Is it okay if I shoot some more? I'm gonna do that. How are y'all doing? Are you surviving? Okay, the shutdown. It looks like a lot of you young people are getting this virus, okay? And you're jeopardizing another shutdown, looks like. I hope not. But you know, actually early on, there were some pretty sharp people saying that until we get to a point of herd immunity, you know, it is not going to be over, or the vaccine, of course. I don't know. Look, I guess on the positive side of that is we're going to be closer to the herd immunity if all of you don't die, and I don't think that's going to happen, right? But if you do, it's nice knowing you. All right, let's shoot a couple more. Hey, doggies. That was 5. Yep. Nice revolver. The 4 3/4 inch barrel. This is the short one. The shortest of the standard lengths that you can find sheriff's models, and you know, they're custom lengths shorter than this. But as far as having the standard ejection rod length and everything, this and the 5.5 and the 7.5 were the 3 standard lengths on these things. Colt Single Action Army, for those who don't know. And this one it really is harder to shoot well. Now, it's a gunfighter model, they call it. You know, really handy, and it's not a big deal up close and dirty. But you know, if you're shooting long range and you're not accustomed to shooting one of these very much, you're going to find this harder to shoot than the 5.5 or the 7.5. Just be aware of that if you're buying these. You might buy this length because you think, oh, this is cool. This is John's favorite length too. But then when you go to shoot it, might not be able to hit anything. It is. You really have to focus, boy, and hold that barrel straight. Still, it's a little bit harder, but you know, as long as you hold her steady, she'll put the bullet where the barrel is pointed when you break the trigger. How's that for an amazing fact, huh? So, anyway. Oh, by the way, happy Independence Day. Did I say that? Yeah. Interesting day and interesting week. You know, I don't want to be negative Nelly. You know, sometimes we do wonder though, wow, you know, we gained our independence by rebelling against a kind of a tyrannical government, you know, Britain, King George, back in the 1770s, excuse me. It's only 100 years off, come on. You know, and I guess on the positive side, that's all great. And I still think we're the greatest country that I know of. We're not biased, are we folks who live here? But then again, we also, the downside, wow, especially lately, we begin to wonder, are we still free? How free are we of this tyrannical government across the ocean? Or this tyrannical government, you know, on this continent, right? So, I don't know. Becoming so intrusive in so many ways, it's a different world, right? Hey, excuse me. Then, you know, it's not just the government. It's, you know, big tech, the whole 9 yards, you know, social media and everything. It's we really don't have the freedom, at least the privacy that we used to, right? And with, you know, government is going to take control wherever they can. That's just the nature of governments, and they sort of evolve in that direction with our help, because we don't monitor it enough. You know, we don't vote correctly. Don't vote like I do. Yeah, that's the correct way to vote, right? So, you know, it tends to evolve into a situation where government has more power. I was thinking about this the other day, how these, you know, it seems like the Second Amendment in some ways might be stronger than it has in a while, you know, because of everything that has happened, ironically. And so many of us have these things. How are you going to get these back? these or the AR-15s or the AKs or any of that. How are you ever going to get any of that back? There's millions upon millions of them in magazines and ammo. It's just out there. Like butter knives. You know, it's just out there and not going anywhere. And so I think maybe we can be, what's my word? Having trouble with my word today. We can be distracted if we're not careful, I think, into thinking, man, we're in good shape, better than we've ever been. You know, everybody is armed, and recently, more and more people have seen a reason for maybe it's wise to be armed, and buying guns like crazy. You can't even find a firearm hardly. You know, the ones you want, everybody's sold out. It seems like an ammo, and that's annoying, but it's a good thing in a lot of ways. It'll get better. So we think, wow, Second Amendment is so strong. We're, you know, yeah, try to take them now. Schumer, Pelosi, whoever, you know, the usual crowd that's always trying to do it. But, you know, on the other hand, every single one of us could have 5 AR-15s and 5,000 rounds of ammo. But if still we're just detailed to death, and we have no privacy, and you know, we're told what to do on everything, and you know, business is kind of can be a part of the problem. Big tech a part of the problem. At least half the population a part of the problem, wanting control over the other half, and you know, and keeping us divided and all that kind of. So I don't know. You know, we got other problems, you know, beyond our Second Amendment rights, don't we? We really do. So we again, make sure you vote. Make sure you're registered and that you vote. That's really our only hope, because it really is about half the country, at least, you know, population-wise. You're in that neighborhood of people who really don't seem to respect freedom and liberty, you know, individual liberty and freedom, and you know, just the way it's been for the most part during my life. And you know, boy, I hate to see you folks in your 20s or teens or 30s, you know, grow up in a totally different world, more of a totalitarian world, you know, in this country. Just hate to see that. But anyway, vote, please. Okay? No, please. I'm instructing you to do it. You have no choice. Go vote. If you don't do anything else, go vote. Man, I mean, if you young folks, I know it sounds condescending, but I really would love for you to have, you know, I've talked about in these Sunday shoot-arounds about how my childhood was and things I did and all that, and all that's well and good. You don't have to be riding in the back of a pickup truck or drinking out of a water hose or riding a bicycle all day without a helmet. You know, I mean, all those things, most of us survived it and everything. We're probably better for it, but that's not essential. But you do want to grow up in a country where you have some freedom, you know, right? Some liberty, and you're not just totally controlled by not only the totalitarian state, but just groups, you know, I mean, just radicalized people from that have hung out too much on social media. You know, we've talked a lot in recent years about people, and I joke about it being radicalized. I make fun of my buddies, you know, being radicalized one way or the other, you know, just joking around. I'm a radicalized gun owner. I have so many guns, but I think that same dynamic is there. You know, the same force that causes somebody who is not quite, I don't know, adjusted or quite right in the head, or is from a totally different ideology and hates this country anyway. They get online and they get fed more of that, right? Because there's a chat room. That's really dates me if I say chat room, right? There's a forum. There are videos there, you know, for everybody, no matter what it is. Maybe I'm looking at my four-wheeler. You really get excited about eating tires off of cars. That's your thing. You can't find anybody in your neighborhood that likes to steal tires, cut them up, and eat them. There's probably a group for you. There's probably another 100 people on this planet that do the same thing, and you can just find them, and you can just feed off each other and get revved up about that. Before you know it, all of our tires are gone off all of our cars. You all have eaten them, and you've spread that message. You've radicalized people who normally don't even like to eat rubber. I promise I'm not on drugs. That just came to me. But really, so people really that a little bit imbalanced. You know, they get fed this hate America or hate whatever, envy, class envy and stuff, racism, whatever it is, in the forums where they hang out, because they sort of move in that direction anyway, and they just get more that way, radicalized, and then they go try to blow up a building. You know, I mean, you know, that happens, doesn't it? Well, I think there's a similar thing that happens with almost everybody. You get online and social media, and your favorite people that all think like you, and in your own bubble and echo chamber. And if you're a little bit extreme at all, or you're even prone to that, there's people out there that'll feed you. They'll if you have a tendency to be extreme, have some extreme views on something, hey, no problem. There's a welcome audience out there, isn't there? They're happy to feed you, to feed that, and really rev you up, and so I mean it's just that way, you know. And so we end up with a lot of people, just extremists. I guess put it that way, extremists, you know. And I mean, you could say our founding fathers, in a way, were extremists, but you know, I don't know. That's more in a positive way and with justification, I would say. You know. So anyway, I don't know. But anyway, you young folks, keep that in mind. Please vote and try not to get radicalized. Use your common sense. Let's see, something before I go any further I wanted to announce. Well, let me shoot these rounds first. Can I do that? All right, these are jacketed. You know, I don't know if I've ever shot the gong over here with these things. Just throw one over there and see how close I can get. It's a challenge with this 4-inch, I have to say. Can't see where I'm going. All right, held up a little higher on that one. Yeah, I swallowed a bug. I'm empty. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Okay. I could shoot out a while, get to where I could hit it most of the time, I guess. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. A couple of things. Again, John will be at Laughs Comedy Club in Tucson, October the 2nd and 3rd. Okay. He's hosting both of those nights for whatever, a couple of shows each night. He's hosting. We'll tell a few jokes and all that sort of thing. So if you're in Tucson area, we'll keep you updated on that. Oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to mention in terms of announcements. You may have seen my Facebook posting, and John posted on Instagram about this. You know, there's some idiot trying to get free stuff from vendors in our name. That's happened, I don't know, a couple of times in the past. Just something we'd like to mention. You know, we can't control the internet, but you know, I mean, people trying to defraud businesses, and hopefully they sue them, take them to court. You know, when they do that, I mean, if someone contacts you pretending to be us, wants a gun or a scope or anything like that, you prosecute. So I can say I can't control the internet, but that's serious crime. It really is. That's called stealing. Yeah. Defrauding, you know, business. So, I mean, it's impersonating us. You know, we could pursue something like that, you know, through a trademark, just through criminal violation, which we might do sometime. But we like to save our chips for when we really need them. You know, we always have the nuclear option. Where Hickok 45 is trademarked. I mean, really, supposedly we're the best trademark attorneys in the country. In fact, I'm having to pay big bucks just to keep it. You know, it's been 10 years, you know, here right now in the process of kind of renewing the trademark. But So I mean, there's things we can do, but we're not going to pull out the big guns every time something comes up or somebody uses our name, or anytime an idiot comes online and does something. It's just, we're saving it for when we really want to. We really might need to. Okay, but anyway, just like aware of that, and that's something that I've talked about before. I think I had a student one year who had duplicated my email address, and fortunately he didn't do any damage with it or anything, but just scary things. Whenever someone is pretending to be you, you think about the potential there, right? You can't help it, and so the malicious behavior and all that thing, and so that's definitely prosecutable. Someone pulls something like that, but I have the advantage. People know me, and I don't have any giant skeletons in the closet, really. Well, if I did, they'd be giant, wouldn't they? They'd be 6'8". and so people, and that's the reason these people have come to us the 2 or 3 times it's happened. I said, did you contact us about something? Or they contact through, if they don't know how to get hold of me, which is not easy, they'll contact DirectVet or somebody they know knows us. And does this sound right? Do you know them? Give them the phone number, whatever. Someone that knows us. They'll 22 Plankster or somebody, Tim. And so anyway, that's kind of how that works. People usually just, they know. That's kind of, for one thing, we don't just out of the blue write companies and, hey, we'd like to have something. How many scopes, guns, or anything do you see on the table like that? We don't really do accessories much, and guns we get mostly from buds. Unless I bought a gun or something. And that's not to say we couldn't get a T&E gun somewhere, or that a gun shop doesn't give us a gun. That happens occasionally, for a plug or something. But we always let you know, so So, but anyway, it doesn't even. It's not even an issue. Very, very often that we're just contacting somebody randomly, some company, other than buds, wanting to get something free, in order to do a review of it, so that's just not really what we do. So just want to make a mention of that, imposters, and you may have gotten wind of Gunstreamer. Again, I want to remind everybody we're on gunstreamer.com too. Every video I post over there is much like YouTube in a lot of ways, and so videos are there. If anything ever goes bad with YouTube, all of our videos are on Gunstreamer, and we just continue posting there. Okay. Now recently they were thinking about shutting down some things, and so things have happened just in the last week. They are they're up strong, maybe stronger than ever. So that is not a problem. Okay, Gunstreamer will be there. Just make you aware of that. They're still linked in our descriptions, and that's our backup. And I don't know. We may do some exclusive content over there sometime. I don't know, but we'll let you know if we do. So anyway, don't forget gunstreamer.com. Okay, really easy to post over there if you do YouTube videos. And want to post them over there too. It's easy to do it. Very, very simple to copy them over there. So make you aware of that. Anything else was notes wise? Well, let me take a shot. How's that? I really did swallow a bug, and hope he survived. I guess he didn't, right? Okay. So. Good old Colt 45. You probably know it's one of my favorites if you've been around a while. And I was just in the mood to pull this one out. I tend to pull out the longer barreled ones like my Davy Colt 7.5 inch, or my other second generation 7.5 inch. I guess I have 2 of those, don't I? Yeah, I should be ashamed of myself. I really should. It's not fair for me to have more guns than you. It's just not. All right, let's shoot something. All right. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's just not fair. Yeah, that gets into that envy, doesn't it? Yeah, I spend a lot of time lying awake at night, envious of people, you know, so much that I can't even go about my own life. Always been that way. I've wasted probably 10 or 20 years of my life doing nothing because I just sat around and envied Hugh Hefner. And if you're going to waste your life away, waste time envying somebody, hey, that's the person to envy, right? Somebody would say, who's that? That kind of dates myself, I guess. But now you know who Hugh Hefner is. You know the joke, right? Although I have said through the years, I really feel like the Hugh Hefner of firearms in a way, because I'm so lucky the way it's worked out. I mean, we helped it to work out this way, but it worked out with some luck, good fortune, that I get to review and shoot all these different firearms, you know. So I'm sort of the Hugh Hefner of this, but I think I would trade places with him, right? Firearms are nice, but let's see, you know, announcement I was going to make. I'll just say a couple things, see if I can keep myself out of trouble, you know. One reason, I've said this before, I guess, I get into politics some, you know, I'm sort of in the middle in a libertarian way and everything. So I'm kind of naturally not cut out, but I should be safe to discuss some things without alienating all of you or half of you or that sort of thing, and which we don't want to do. We want all of you welcome here to the Second Amendment and the firearms hobby and everything. Because I'm kind of libertarian. I'm not like extreme right, extreme left, or any of that kind of thing. And you know, when it comes to like most issues, and there was something else I was going to say about that, but I forgot what it was. But well, yeah, and on other issues, you know how I feel about bigotry and racism and those kinds of things, and I've made no bones about that. You know, most of my life, it's disgusting, you know. And anybody that knows me knows I'm not racist, and I don't go around, you know, just hating on people or saying obnoxious things. I just don't. So I have a history, and so you know, so I'm you know, don't want to offend anybody, but then I don't necessarily totally avoid talking about some things. But then again, we don't get too political. I want you to come here and shoot and feel safe and feel welcome, whether you are far right, far left, in the middle, and whatever religion, race, gender, and all those other things you are, because you're perfectly welcome. You're welcome to come here. I mean, you would literally, I'm not just saying to watch so we can make a couple of pennies off of you watching a video. I mean, you would be welcome, if it was feasible, to stand here and have a cup of coffee with me. You know, I harbor no grudges against anybody on this planet. You know, as I said before, the only people I just kind of avoid are people I don't like because of their personality. You know, I mean, yeah, just obnoxious people. And most people I have met and know, they might think quite differently from me in terms of politics or religion or lots of things, but they don't lead with it. They're not obnoxious about it. You know, we can sit here and have a beer or a cup of coffee and talk about guns or anything. Spend the day at a gun show, you know, and it's not a problem, you know. But anyway, the couple in St. Louis, you know, the hot item right now, the news story, the two attorneys that came out of the house and were protecting their property against the protesters, the angry mob, or however you want to term it, okay, that broke down the gate and all that, you know. Just a couple of things I was going to say about it is, of course, the gun handling was horrible. You know, it was really a poor example of gun handling. Yeah, I mean, it was almost comical, lady holding the gun like that. You know, if she's going to have a gun, it'd be nice she had a little training. The guy with the AR was, yeah, he wasn't so bad the whole time, but in terms of his gun handling, he was pointing at people and, you know, and their fingers on the trigger and different things like that. You know, that's one issue. Makes all gun owners, you know, kind of look bad, although a lot of people don't even know that looks so bad, right? That have no training at all. The one thing I was going to say about that is a couple of things. First of all, know the law, for one thing. you know, and I think John made a posting on Instagram. I didn't see it. He was telling me he caught heat both ways on that, support and heat. But and I think one of the points he was trying to make, he said, was that you can't go out of the house, you know, with a rifle like that necessarily. I mean, it can be against the law. Okay, I heard somebody who really used to study this stuff pretty extensively was saying that one of the advantages of the AR pistol, and as he always kept one, this person, was that he could go out the door if there was something outside on the property that seemed threatening or whatever, because he has a carry permit, and so that AR pistol is just a pistol. He is authorized to carry that with him. Whereas if he grabbed a full-length AR-15 or a shotgun or something, or another rifle, went out into the yard with it, what's going on out here? It'd be easier to interpret that as brandishing a weapon. I mean, because in some states, that's why you have to know the law. It's not legal to actually carry a rifle around, you know, especially if you're for the purpose of going armed, a long gun, you know, or whatever. And you know the law better than I do, maybe. So it just depends on where you are. Whereas if you have a permit for your handgun, and you come out of the house because you hear something, there's people, whatever, and you have a 44 Magnum on your hip, you know, or a 10 millimeter, doesn't matter, or on your chest in a chest holster. You know, hey, what are y'all doing out here? You know, you didn't come out with a gun in a threatening way, you know, so you got to, what do you mean, what's wrong? Why'd I come out with a gun? I have a carry permit. Everywhere I go, I have this gun. So you haven't really done anything all that unusual, you know, that sort of thing. Just a little tidbit of information that might be half wrong, but something to think about, check into, and your laws and all that. It also, on a positive side, it did show probably, hey, in this world has gotten kind of crazy lately. Maybe it wasn't all that bad that people watching TV around the country got the message, and wow, even fat little pudgy white guys and his wife, they have AR-15s. Something to think about, you know, in this big house that you might think they wouldn't have guns. They don't look like NRA members, and they've got an AR-15 in there. Maybe that's not all bad. Okay, on the positive side. Okay, so there's negatives and positives to everything. You know, the negative side, I guess, is that it did. You know, they were. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't say much. I heard the guy talk about it, and it sounds like, you know, he did feel threatened and everything. And put yourself in his place at night, and all of a sudden a mob of 200 or 300 people breaking down a gate and knowing what's been going on and seeing houses burning in the news and businesses and everything. So, you know, you got to look at both sides of it. But apparently they weren't coming to his house necessarily. That wasn't, I don't guess, their intention or anything. And we're passing by. I don't know. I'm not going to get into all that. Don't know. You know. So you had to be there. And plus, it's hard to judge somebody unless you were there. And it's what the police go through all the time, having to make a decision in just a split second, you know, and then seeing the rest of us for the next 2 years, watching it on video, maybe. And like armchair quarterback Monday morning, yeah, well, now you shouldn't have done that. When this happened, you should have done that. You know, so that's just the way it is. When you're not there, it's just different, right? But anyway, there's negatives and positives there, and you can argue that vehemently in both ways. So see how that turns out. But anyways, big deal in the news. It was interesting to watch it. Interesting episode from the footage I saw, and one thing too that comes to my mind from that too, it doesn't take a lot of training to realize, you know, if there's a threat of some sort. Maybe I should pull out my pocket pistol, but well, that's a good example. You know, I don't have to. Oh boy, there could be a threat here. Oh no. How about, you know, I don't know what's going on here, but you can't see me, baby. I got my hands in my pocket, but you know, something might not go right here, and you know, I'm not even armed, am I? I don't have a gun pointed towards the potential threat, but you know what? I can be very quickly into action. I could even have it down low, a second stage, you know, pointed at the ground, you know, and how long does it take? You know, how long does it take to bring it into action? If it's in a holster, in your pocket even, on your belt, or the firearm, you don't need to point a gun at somebody. That's when it's time to shoot, generally speaking, right? You don't need to point at, even cops, you know, I took a course with Reed Hendricks at Valor Ridge, and he made the point, he'd been a cop, and of course, extensive training in Marine too, but that the cops shouldn't really be pointing guns at people. There's no need to, even if you've got a serious threat. And it's almost shoot time if he or she doesn't do what he's supposed to, or if he reaches in that pocket, or he grabs that gun next to whatever he's doing. You know, he advocates pointing, you know, point that gun down there like below their feet. You know, okay, you're down here, boom. How long does it take to bring that gun up? You know, and so, you know, pointing a gun at somebody is almost never a good option, never a needed option. So, of course, their level of training was so far beyond the pale that you know, it's almost silly to I guess address it. They need to take some courses, right? So, but anyway, that's a crazy thing happened, and you know, it's too bad. It's unfortunate. Maybe some positives out of it, as I say, but some negatives as well. And that's kind of the way of the world, isn't it? It really is. Yeah, I'm still carrying lately my P365, but you never know what I might have, right? I might be carrying this. If I was going to carry a Colt 45 or a Colt Single Action Army, this might be my choice in a shoulder holster, you know, like right there. It's like a cowboy, okay, Doc Holliday or something. And that's another example of that. You know, again, I'm not a trainer. I've not been in gunfights, all that kind of thing. But I think people dwell too much on those tenths of a second and that kind of stuff. You know, you need to be aware, and you know, you probably have time. You know, someone is creating a threat. If I don't have time to pull this out of a holster and cock it, I might not have time to pull out my Glock 19 off my belt either and get a shot off in time. You know, so I don't know, those split seconds, you know, if you get killed, if I get killed, I get shot because I was a quarter second slower than I could have been ideally or something. It wasn't my day. That was a bad day. Yeah, there's another thing Reed Hendricks I thought was pretty funny and so true. He didn't spend much time teaching reloading techniques and all that kind of thing. You know, if you've got a 10 and 15 round magazine in your firearm, that extra magazine is mostly in case you have malfunction or problems with your gun. And you know, people go into these courses lots of times thinking they're going to spend all this, like an IPSC training thing, where we're going to work on how to load that pistol, you know, cut off a half a second, tenth of a second on the reload, you know, and be back in action, all that kind of thing. And you know, as he pointed out, and we all know, you were somewhere and things went bad so badly that you used up 15 rounds or even 10 rounds or even 8 rounds, and it ain't solved yet, and you need to reload. Well, you should be back way behind cover somewhere by that time, or it was really a bad day for you if it comes down to how quickly you can reload, you know. So, you know, there's so many other more important things, you know, involved there. But anyway, what else was I going to talk about? Anything? I've gone too long again, probably. Gosh, I don't know. You know, one thing I was going to, I don't know, maybe today I'll talk a little bit about it before I go, and then shoot a little bit more too, this beautiful gun, is that the issue of racism or discrimination and people being treated badly and that kind of thing. One thing I think about, talk about often, especially, you know, when it comes up with, well, like women making less than men in the workplace, you know, just whatever you want to talk about in that realm of when some group of people, whether it's ugly, tall white men, or it's a minority of any sort, or it's women or whatever, not being treated fairly, okay? And I guess you got two different areas. You got like by the government or whatever, legally not being treated fairly, and then also just not being treated equally or fairly by their peers or other people. So you got all kinds of issues there, don't you? But one of the things that I like to focus on, I don't know, you may not agree. To me, it comes down to like just talking about. I could talk a lot about how well the world discriminates against people over 6'5". Yeah, it's just they just don't care about us or whatever. Well, okay. Well, what do you mean? Give me a specific situation. You know, it seems to me that a lot more could be done rather than talking in generalities. If we addressed, if a lot of the energy and the money and all the groups that are energized for whatever the cause is, go for specific situations. For example, there's I don't know, if you go some company in Nashville, I won't name a company, but whatever it is. And I work there, and I'm female, or I'm a minority, or whatever it is, and there's just people all around me whose job seems to go better than mine. They don't get the workload I get, and we're supposed to have the same job, okay? And they're making more than I am. Somehow I know that, let's say. And they've got the same amount of experience, and they're no better than I am at it, at the job. Well, that's a specific situation where all the big guns should come out. The best attorneys, civil rights groups, women's rights groups, whatever it is, pound them. Pound that company, that situation right there, and make it a landmark case. Make sure it makes the news, and the news would definitely be willing, right? And to me, that seems like it would do more good than almost anything. And plus, you've got something tangible, rather than just nebulous talk, okay? No, I'm just joking, really. I mean, if you are tall, exceptionally tall, or exceptionally short, you got some what you could call discrimination, right? If I go to the gas pump, I got to get on my knees down to get my card in, or a public restroom, the sink, I'd hurt my back, I got to bend over so far, or the mirror, stops, I got to bend down. There's all kinds of stupid little things like that I have to deal with. But if I were going to make a case, I would deal with that. Yeah, I'm being discriminated against because every time I go into a pilot station or a Love's Market or whatever on the road, I hurt my back using a sink or just whatever it might be. I can't do it. When I was competing at IPSC, it's funny, they'd put a window. Okay, you run through this barricade and you shoot through this window. We cut this window in. Okay, that's fun. Well, every time I go to an IPSC match, I finally realized, you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to get to Rob Letham's level because everybody else is shooting. They run up to a barricade and boom, 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 through the window. Me, I run up to the barricade and it's like, okay, boom, boom, I got to bend down. I got an extra step. And then if we are getting all the way down, someone may have to just get on their knee or something and take a shot. I got to get way. So anyway, I would go with specific instances. I think that would be, more effective than just generalities. Because it's just crazy that somebody's in this world, 2020, that somebody is literally discriminated against, making less money, or whatever it is for just because of their race, religion, gender, or whatever. It just makes no sense that would happen in this world in the year 2020. And it seems to me that that's where it ought to be addressed. Just like in if there's a police brutality, or wherever a policeman, policewoman, oversteps their authority. Hammer that person, that situation, if it's, really, really hard right there, that one, not just blanket statements, and condemning everybody, put all the resources, all the energy, first make sure it's real, make sure it's real. Because it's easy to just throw stuff out there. It's like with salaries, you're comparing salaries. You could say that whether it's women or it's old men make 10% less than other people across the country, okay, or minorities or whatever. Well, same deal. You got what specific job? Find some places where the discrimination is taking place, and put all the legal force and all the money behind it. I would donate to that cause. Find those specific situations. They're concrete. They're real. They're not just made up. They're not just people trying to get attention and make it seem worse than it is or whatever, media, whoever. Find the real situations and hammer them as hard as you can. Publicize them as much as possible, really. Because, there's just, one reason I always come back to this, I've worked for various companies, both education and in the business world and publishing different things. And I was in management in one company, a distribution company, for about a year, I guess. And wow, was I in management? It was a handful. I landed in something I was really not ready for, but I had so many folks under me, and through that year, there were certain clerks who were really doing a better job than others. I was trying to get them promoted or get them a little more money, because there were some people that were very average, and others were, wow, we don't have a higher position for you, but you sure deserve it when we can create one or one's available. And I would try to get their pay bumped up. You couldn't do it. I mean, in my experience with human resources is that it's almost just the opposite of what people talk about so much, whether it's in teaching or in business. And I've dealt with human resources, a lot of different companies, and many of you have too. It's almost impossible to pay somebody unfairly, is my perception. I mean, I've had people that really deserve more money, and you couldn't get it for them. I mean, it's really, that's kind of the situation. And I'm sure you get some smaller companies or maybe some lame human resources, departments. I don't know, but I mean, that's their job, and boy, do they monitor that. I've had myself, a victim where people wanted to pay me more, do this thing, and couldn't do it without I was on the bonus structures in some situations based on performance, and was able to make more, but based on, I would have had to taken a different job that I didn't really want, maybe, a different title, a different situation. That's what often happens. And then it's like an act of Congress to get that new job created, get the job description approved by everybody, and the pay level for it, and all that kind of thing. And then you can't just move that person you wanted in that position. You got to interview 18 people for that position. So it's really not easy, So I don't know where all this discrimination is exactly, but when you find it, I think it should really be outed big time and make a huge deal out of that, or abuse, just whatever it is. And I think we'd get further, and it would be more effective. It'd be a message to all other companies and all other people that you don't discriminate and abuse people like this. This person was minority, a female, an old guy, whatever it is, should have been paid exactly the same as this person, okay? Or like we're very close, okay? You got other factors, education, effectiveness, and all that sort of thing, but maybe even degrees, go into it, or whatever. But anyway, just one of my little rants. I do think sometimes people, it's almost human nature for us to think we're sometimes being slighted by other people. We've all felt it when it was unjustifiable. Just some of you young people to keep in mind, okay? Keep in mind, as you move through life and you age a little bit, you realize sometimes, I think you come to the realization that people, whereas you might have when you were younger thought they were, we've all got some negative about us, right? Like I don't know, I could have, because of my height or my color or my age now or whatever it might be. Maybe I don't speak well because my teeth were bad, whatever it might be. I could easily, you know how it is when you go into a market or you buy something, or you go into a store, or you go to Best Buy or somewhere, anywhere, and you sort of can't get any help. People act like they, need help. Well, what's wrong with me? Do I look like a shoplifter? Or they ask you, or the opposite. They ask you 14 times, can I help you? Can I help you? And you're just looking around, so I must look like a shoplifter. Do I have my pockets bulging or something? It's real easy to be a little bit paranoid, isn't it? I think it's a tendency. And, if people aren't treating us well, That's kind of what it is. And so what do? I'm giving you my psychology lesson here. So we tend to internalize that. Okay, now what is it about me that people don't like? Is my color? They must know I'm a atheist, or I'm a Christian, or I'm Jewish. Maybe that must be it. I've got a ring or something. They figured that out, or just because of I don't know, my looks. I don't. Yeah, it's just really easy to find reasons quickly why these people aren't waiting on me. They're kind of ignoring me. Yeah, and I've learned over the years it's usually just because people don't care. It's not that they're singling you out to discriminate against you or me, and most of the time they just don't care. Yeah, they're just incompetent. Yeah, a lot of times they're busy talking to them amongst themselves. You've been in businesses like that where everybody's just having a big time, and here's a customer. Oh my God, now we got to wait on the customer. Let's just ignore the customer. Yeah, it just doesn't go that deep. Yeah. That's the thing. People actually care a whole lot less about us and what our religion is, or our color, or anything else, gender. They care a whole lot less than we think. I think that's what it comes down to. Okay, so we have to be careful, or else it's so easy, to blame it on something. We're sort of blaming it on something we'd like to blame it on, kind of a crutch, and it's not even that. It's just their incompetence, quite often. Yeah, just something to think about. But anyway, that's my little lesson, right? Not worth much, but you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for in this world. And I was in the process of loading this, so let me get her loaded. In fact, I was about to load it in correctly. Most of you know how you load a Colt single action to get around. You load one, skip one, and then load 4. Okay, put some of this fine federal ammo in here, and I'm going to shoot a couple more. Is that okay? Good old Colt single action 45. If you're new to guns, or here, this is a 45 Colt cartridge. Okay, it's a big bullet, and it's fun to shoot. It's not a 44 Magnum. It doesn't kick like crazy. It's just fun to shoot. Oh, how could I not shoot the cowboy when I've got one of these? Let me take a couple more at the gong. We'll go one-handed. I just had a feeling on that last shot I was going to hit, because on that next to the last shot, I saw it go, I think, just low, just a little bit low, almost touched it. And so I brought it up a little bit, and that's just half the battle, though, bring it up where it needs to be held. The biggest part of the battle is what? Those of you who shoot a lot, yeah, it's pulling that trigger without flinching, moving the barrel. That's a challenge, okay, especially on a short gun like this. Yeah, pretty nice. Yeah, Colt single action, I like them. And many of you do too. And even though it's not your favorite firearm, you like them just fine. So this made my day to bring this out. I could have brought something out for Independence Day, weekend, and like the brown vest or something, maybe more appropriate, flintlock. But those things wear me out. Get flintlocks to work and everything. So that would have been better for you all probably. But I just enjoy these things so much. And when it's a holiday, I want to bring out something I like. And that's what the Sunday shoot-arounds are about. Bringing out something I really just would like to shoot, and shooting the bull about something I just maybe like to talk about. I guess I like to talk about, right? I mean, since I'm going to be here in the camera and you all have come to expect it, I always have a couple of things to talk about, and I'll try to think a little bit. So is there anything else I might want to talk about? What's been going on? And so I've got 2 or 3 things maybe I can share with you. I don't know. I still labor under the delusion, I guess, of having taught so long that maybe I can talk about things that I don't know, bring a little. I mean, some of you say that, but sometimes you're just being nice. Probably, we just need more common sense, I think. Calm common sense, and to think about things. I tend to step back and look at the big picture on things. And yeah, I'm far from perfect, but I think it helps if we do just step back a little bit, not go crazy over everything, and think about it. Just think about it. I've been around long enough. I've seen how people are. I know how people are. Like I was talking about with discrimination. Sometimes it's real discrimination. You don't know, that person might just be an absolute redneck, and you're a minority, and it's real, But then again, sometimes it's not, because even I have no reason. I'm not a real minority, and I guess, and I've in certain environments I am, but I've had those same feelings, I guess, is the point, about people. So I can imagine, if you're a minority, and there's history of discrimination with you, I can really see how you could interpret things that way, because they hit me that way sometimes. Yeah, really do. So anyway, I just like think about things like that sometimes, and think about the big picture, and just observations I've made in my life. I'll tell you one thing I observed, this kind of ties into that. I'm a casual kind of person, You figured that one out. I wear t-shirts. I live in t-shirts, and I'd be more professional, I guess, if I wore a collared shirt for the videos. Somebody really gave me a hard time several years back that I was so unprofessional and just wearing a t-shirt doing this. And I think it was the only one, but boy, was he just really read me the riot act. And he wasn't an idiot. Well, he may have been an idiot, but it was written well. He was just a long paragraph about it, why I should, and he might have brought up Clint Smith or some other trainers and people that are more professional. I forgot what all he said. And, I said, well, I'm sorry. I just I'm not going to get dressed up for you guys. I love you, but I'm not going to get dressed up for you unless I'm going to be a cowboy or something. This is the way I dress. Shorts when it's hot, because I like to see those ticks coming after me, and just jeans and a t-shirt and long sleeve when it gets cooler, and that's just the way I dress. And so, I mean, you see me as I am, basically. But I see videos sometimes. I have a hard time finding t-shirts. They all seem to, after about 3 washings, the necks get stretched out, and sometimes I'll see a video, oh man, I am kind of ragged looking at times. But, I'm not Brad Pitt anyway, so what. But the point I was going to make is I've always, casual, with jeans kind of guy, and t-shirt. And through my professions, though, when I was in publishing, when I was teaching, so throughout my entire life, career, I've gone from being dressed up, shirt and tie, and even coat and tie. When I was in publishing back in the 70s or 80s, that was a 3-piece suit time. So I was in a 3-piece suit quite often as I moved around the country in Tennessee, Kentucky, different things. And then in my teaching also, and in various jobs, I've always had coat and tie, and then get home and put other clothes, more casual clothes on, okay? So, and I'm always going to the same places, whether it's Walmart or the drugstore or you name it, or the library, dressed both ways. And you've probably heard people say this, and you may have experienced it too. There is absolutely no doubt, this is from experience, 50 years of experience, people regard you differently based on how you're dressed, all right? Yeah, I mean, I have noticed that, and often enough where it was fairly dramatic. Maybe the same places I'd go when I was dressed up, just really treat you differently, like you ought to treat a customer, But then I come back dressed like this, and just a different experience, you know. Not that I would say get out the door, you look like a bum or anything, but I mean it's just different, really is. So sometimes it's just human nature. I don't know what it is. It's we've been conditioned. If somebody's got a tie and a coat, I don't know. Maybe you're afraid of somebody in management from the headquarters, in the store or whatever. You don't know who it is, or they're a doctor, or there's somebody more important than you or something, which is silly. And nobody's more important than you or me. And what you wear shouldn't make any difference. However, it does. We like to think, I know back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, people letting their hair grow long and all that, and there were songs about it, what's that song? It was huge in the late 60s. Tucked my hair up under my hat and went back into whatever to interview for the job. I forget the exact lines, but, and got hired, took my hat off, and there's all the hair, and then imagine that they were in shock. They hired, you get hired because you got your hair hidden, so to speak, okay? But people wouldn't hire you because you had long hair, you were a hippie or whatever. And people during that time period especially was, how silly that was and unfair and discriminating me because of the length of my hair. I'm the same person, I can do the job, just all that kind of thing, And in a perfect world, that's true. But people actually do regard you differently. That's why you still have these rules, dress codes, with most companies. When I was teaching, right up to the last year, I had to wear a tie. Okay, didn't have to wear a jacket, coat, unless it was like parents' night or some kind of big deal. I'd wear one at least, most of the time. But people just regard you as more professional. It's just that simple. It's still in our bones. It's our perception. That tie, oh my gosh, don't you wish that would go away? It depends on what job you're in. If you're a programmer in Silicon Valley, they probably know what a tie is in most departments, but it's just the way life is. People are programmed to judge you by the way you look and the way you're dressed and all that. So there is an element of that, regardless of race, religion, gender, and all those other things. I don't know. It's a strange world. It's just some of the facts of life, though. It's facts of life. On the positive side of that is you want to create a good impression for some reason. Dress up a little bit, and you can do it. Hey, an easy way to do it. I can fool these people. They're so dumb. They'll think I'm smarter than I am because I'm wearing a tie or I got a haircut and I look really clean cut. I'll fool them, So Anyway, I don't know how I got off on all that. Do you? Did it mean anything? Why did I go there? I don't know. Just rambling. I'll shoot 5 more, and I'll let you go. Okay? Because I know you're tired of listening to me. I do appreciate it, though. Appreciate y'all coming out. I don't deserve y'all in these Sunday shoot-arounds. I'm glad that enough of you come out and watch and listen to the Sunday shoot-arounds. It makes it worthwhile, though. And, because, generally we get like 70,000 or 100,000 views, even on these mostly vlogs that are meaningless, right? But because it's a day when I come out and I just enjoy it and yak at you about various things. Probably put my foot in my mouth one of these days, if I haven't already. Well, you know what? I'm feeling kind of cocky, so let's try the gong again. I've got a lighter load. I might have trouble. Well, I'm not going to waste them all on that. I'm going to shoot some steel. Like I said, I might have some trouble. Okay, I can't quit on a miss, sorry. Even though I'll shoot some after you're gone. I've got on my last shot with you all, there's got to be some steel ringing, okay? So let's just shoot 5 more before I make you all leave, okay? So this is a great way for me to celebrate the 4th weekend, really. shooting a Colt single action, you know, with some cool targets. I am so lucky, as I say often, to be able to do this, to be healthy, and you never know when you're not going to be healthy. Yeah, really, whether you're 20 or 60, you don't know. Nobody knows, right? So, be thankful if you can walk around and get out of bed. The old joke, how you doing today? I'm doing fine. I woke up. You hear people say, yeah, there's truth to that. A lot of people did not wake up today, right? A lot of people woke up with a diagnosis of cancer today, or got a diagnosis today or this week, right? Or some other dreaded disease, and or can't walk, or had probably, Jeff Quinn, gun blast. You've probably heard, most of you, had part of his leg taken off recently. So you don't know what the future holds for you, and when you get older, you expect those kinds of things could happen, but they also happen to a lot of young people. And again, the most dangerous thing we do is not shoot these. The most dangerous thing we do by far is, where is it? Yeah. It's one of these, car, okay? And you don't know the next trip you take. Somebody run a stop sign or a traffic light, and that's the end of you, or you're in traction and paralyzed the rest of your life, okay? Not meaning to be negative, but really is. Any day you're up and around and doing things, enjoying the weekend, it's good. Try not to manufacture problems that don't exist. Really. Try not to, as I'm always advising, to avoid the haters online as much as you can. This online world, I think people are getting wiser and wiser about it, and how people act. It seems like everybody has a alter ego or another personality online, and it's kind of sad, and just looking to tear people down, tear you down or whatever. I didn't shoot myself. My cat scratched me accidentally. Boy, she has sharp claws. But one of my cats. So, you don't want to dwell on that stuff and hang out with that. I think, man, my advice would be, I've heard so many people talk about getting caught up to where they can't get away from their phone, and they'll post here and there, and then it can't keep from going back to see who's commented on their comment, or how many likes they have, or what notifications are on. I mean, that is just a rabbit hole that never ends. I use my phone a lot, and I check my email on there, and messages, weather, text, and different things, but I don't really have any. For one thing, my notifications, if I got them turned off, or they don't make any sounds. I don't really. I have notification when I get a text, okay, and I can see it at least. There's a one there or two, or if I have a new email, I can see that and I'll look at it. And but that's it. I don't. I'm not preoccupied with who has commented and all this stuff. Now, when I get to the computer a couple times a day, that's where I spend the time checking on my Facebook messages, trying to skimming. I do a lot of skimming, on there, and getting videos ready to post, all that sort of thing. But I try not to get preoccupied with it, and it can dominate your life, as you know. So my advice to young people, again, is try to break away as much as possible from that phone and notifications, and really, so what? Who liked your post, and I mean, you liked your, just try to live a life outside of that, and I think you'll be more sane. I really do. If you have the potential to be sane. Now, if you don't have the potential to be sane in the first place, I don't know, maybe it's better if you're insane right here in this little thing instead of out here with us in the real world. I don't know, I'll shut up. Oh, I've got to shoot 5 more, don't I? Okay. All right, let's shoot 5 more. Okay, I'm getting worse as I move along. What am I doing? Come on, y'all help me. I got to shoot 5 more. And then I'll let you go. Okay. Well, it is Independence Day, weekend, so I might as well shoot and talk a little bit longer, but I won't keep you much longer. Got to get you out of here. I don't want a 2-hour video on my conscience. I can hit that. Click. Okay. I think I was messing around, flinching or something. It doesn't take much. It doesn't matter how much you shoot. You can sort of fall into that. You really can. Kind of get in a hurry or whatever. That's why if it was easy, anybody could do it. Shooting a handgun is not easy. For those of you new shooters getting into it, it's not easy. It really is not. And I know we folks that shoot a whole lot, sometimes we make it look easy, but it's not. It's not. I mention that all the time. I mean, if you give me someone who's never shot a handgun before, is new to firearms, and I can give him this or a Glock or her and walk them up here, right here, they may never hit that first plate right there. It's not very far. They might not hit it, 12, 20 times shooting at it. It's just not easy, okay? So when you got your first handgun, you went shooting, and you see people at the range and all these other paper targets, and they're putting them in there, somewhere in the center, kind of, most of them, and yours are just everywhere, off the paper and everything else. Don't get discouraged, because it is hard. It's like taking somebody else that has never shot a basketball before, never touched one. Go out there and put them on the court at even 5 feet and tell them to start shooting baskets. They may never hit one. I mean, they look like they have no coordination if they never played before. So it's just it's a tough discipline. It really is. And a long gun is always easier to shoot, a shoulder fired firearm. Handguns, tricky. So that's one reason I've always liked them. It is like shooting a basketball or something, like throwing darts. It's a skill that's tough. Shooting arrows, traditional arrows where it's instinct. Shooting a compound bow with a peep sight, simple, but pretty simple. But traditional bow is a little harder. You just have to work with it and develop that instinct, and the handgun is harder. But it also makes it more fun once you reach a certain level of mastery. Just like shooting that basketball, it gets addictive, doesn't it? It really does. So, gosh, I've gone too long. I apologize. I'm sorry. What can I do to make it up to you? Talk less next week? Yeah. That never seems to happen, does it? I'll try. Okay, I'll try. So I appreciate it, and don't hold me responsible for anything I said that was offensive to you. Okay, I do not mean to be offensive to anybody. Right? I just sort of make observations and ramble. All right? There's nobody on this planet that I am going to spend the energy hating on. Nobody is worth the hate and the energy, right? We're all the same. We all have all the same issues. We're not just imperfect. We're not even close, right? And we all have this big ego. All of us have an ego, whether we admit it or not, and we don't like to be slighted, and in any way, and if we think we are, or we're being disrespected in some way, it's we can just conjure up all sorts of things, right? So we need to take care of ourselves for the most part, and do the best we can at whatever we're doing. And if somebody wrongs us, we need to deal with that. Someone actually wrongs us, okay? Because that should not happen. It should not happen. Not on this planet. So, the world's got kind of weird, and hopefully it'll kind of swing back to where it's not quite as weird. But you never know. It might just get worse. Yeah. And then it might get yet even worse than that. You never know. Surely not. That's the other thing we need to do is like turn off the TV for the most part. Really, if we wanted to have a month of sanity, we could turn off our phones and turn off the TVs totally, maybe even radios, and maybe once a night say, okay, if you're going to try to call me, go ahead and just leave me a message, and I'll check my phone messages every night at 6 o'clock, and I'll get back to you, and then at 6:15 I turn the phone back off or something. It could increase the level of sanity immensely, right, in this world, because we don't realize how much social media and the news, TV news, the role it plays in how we perceive things. Really, that narrative that's got to keep us hooked in. It's whatever the narrative is that works, that's the narrative they're going to use, and so we're kind of hooked if we keep those eyeballs on it too much. So glad you came out, and I appreciate you guys watching. You all, when I say guys, I mean everybody, of course. I'm from just far enough north where guys was common gender, right? But I appreciate all of you watching and hanging in there and supporting the people that do support us, and you know who they are. Don't forget our website, hitcock45.com. You can get to anybody, and you know who does support us, and don't forget gunstreamer.com, and yeah, what else? I'm going to shut up because I get to see my grandson in about an hour, and John's coming out, and everybody's going to have some fun. It's just going to be fun. Do some shooting, some archery, and that ain't all bad, is it? That ain't all bad. So, do I need to tell you? Yeah, didn't think I did. And I'm going to tell you again, though, that life is good. Life is very good.